You know, one of the things I try to impress on people is prep. Prep is so important. And not just prep. Prep, set it aside, clean up your station nice and clean. Later on, you'll thank yourself for it, because once you have everything prepped, everything goes smoothly, and then you can, you know, verify that you have everything during that sort of prep process. We are going to season the chicken, and today we're using something that Uncle Chris is not the biggest fan of. Chicken drumsticks. Thighs, yeah. Drumsticks, not so much. Chicken breasts, absolutely never. except there's an exception. If I'm making jerk chicken, a jerk chicken breast is the best thing once you know what you're doing. But anyhow, I've got 8 chicken drumsticks here, which is about 3 pounds or so. I went ahead, I removed the skin off it, and I trimmed the sort of kneecap. Yeah, I kneecap them. You know, one of the conversations we need to have one of these days, and it's gonna have to be a serious conversation, it is about washing chicken. And I know the experts, and I'd be willing to listen to the experts as well, but I have my take on things. I wash my chicken, so I wash my chicken with the juice of a lime and cool water, rinsed it thoroughly, drained it, and that's what we have here. If you don't wash your chicken, if you're scared to wash your chicken, yo, that is your thing. Salt. We're gonna go in with salt. We're gonna go in with Caribbean green seasoning. And Caribbean green seasoning, you know, we've been through this several times. You will see me use it with regularity. A blend or a puree of all the herbs we like using in our dishes in the Caribbean, and it's stored in the fridge, and whenever you're ready to season any sort of protein, fish, seafood, vegetarian dishes, all those different things that goes in there. And not only is it like herbs, there's also garlic in there and pimento peppers and a few other niceties. Head over to CaribbeanPot.com for that recipe. We've got onion, and that is a small onion that I gave a dice to. Tomato, yes, some of you watching that and you're thinking, well, stew chicken tomato. Bear with me, you will see the end results and you will thank me for it later. I've got some Worcestershire sauce. Yeah, mommy showed me how to use that Worcestershire and I never went back. Some black pepper. Scotch bonnet pepper. No, actually, I lied. This is a habanero pepper that I sliced up. And you can use any sort of spicy pepper you like if spice or heat is not your thing. Nah, you don't have to use it. All you would do now is give that a good mix, set it aside for about an hour, and yeah, you're good. The other sort of ingredients you'll need, we'll finish off with some scallion, and I have some parsley, some fresh thyme. There is thyme in that green seasoning, but I like to reinforce the flavors that I like. And today, because we are doing lemongrass stew chicken, we've got the lemongrass. But not only do I have the lemongrass, what I did was I used the back of my knife and I smashed it. So notice it's ripping open like that, and I left it in big pieces because later on I'm gonna fish it out. You're not gonna serve that chicken with that lemongrass, but that lemongrass, I'm telling you, that gingery flavor you're gonna get from that, boy. Cast iron, glazed. It's been through wars. I have a tablespoon of olive oil in there, whatever oil you like using, whether it's coconut oil, vegetable oil, corn oil. Yeah, rock that. A tablespoon and a half of golden brown sugar. This is the stewing, browning part of things. You know, some people call it brown stew. I don't see the reason for putting the word brown in there because it is brown, it's very visual. Anyhow, some people tend to say we're burning the sugar. We are not burning the sugar. You burn that sugar. If it goes black on you, stop. Shut the stove off, shove it to the side over there, allow it to cool completely. Wash it and start over. If you burn that sugar, you're gonna get bitter tasting chicken. We do not want that. We don't want to waste that chicken and sweat equity that we put into buying that, you know what I mean? What's gonna happen? The sugar is gonna melt. If it's the first time you're doing a sort of a Caribbean stew, the sugar is gonna melt. It's gonna go frothy, and then it's gonna start going a sort of a deep amber in color. As that happens, that is when we're gonna add the seasoned chicken to the pot. Stir it, and it's gonna sort of caramelize the outside, give it a lovely flavor, lovely taste. No, it will not be sweet. I guarantee you, the chicken will not be sweet, but you will get a lovely color and flavor from that. Your kitchen will get smoky because for this to get to the temperature to melt, yeah, high heat. Irie, vent your kitchen. I'm moving around the sugar as it starts to melt, and you notice that frothy, because just about any stove you use will have hot spots, and I know that's a hot spot, and here's a hot spot in my stove, so I'm just moving it around accordingly. And yeah, I'm using a wooden spoon. Too much of the kiss me ass comments about using a spoon, a metal spoon. You know, one of the reasons why I much prefer using a metal spoon, speaking about all the comments that everybody tends to have, you know, a tree died for me to make this spoon, wooden spoon, to satisfy some of you all. But anyhow, one of the reasons why I like using a metal spoon, I find that with a wooden spoon, you don't have much control in flipping stuff and all that. You notice? Because it's thicker here, yeah, it's not the greatest. But anyhow, I hope you guys notice how quickly that happened there. I didn't want the sugar to burn, as I said. I left my heat on medium-high, and we want to sort of sear the outside here to develop that color, and in the process, the flavor as well. But you notice how quickly that happened, how quickly I had to add it in there. One thing I must mention is when adding it in there, be very careful. That melted sugar, combination caramelized sugar down there, if that were to make contact with your skin, I am telling you, you will know. You will definitely know. So one, make sure your spoon is dry, whatever spoon, whether it's metal or plastic or wood that you're using, because any sort of liquid going in there is pressure, real pressure. And if you want it, if you're a bit, you know, if it's first time doing it, and you saw me going this way, technically I should have gone away from me, you know. So if it's splattered, it would go that way. So, but I'm a professional. I'm not too worried about, well, next thing you know, I end up in the hospital with 2-degree burn and all kind of thing like that because I yapped in my big mouth. Anyhow, we want to let this go. I'm going to put the lid on there. I'm going to turn the heat down to medium and let it go for about 3 or 4 minutes just to develop that flavor and color. Some wicked color happening on the bottom there. I'm just going to use my spoon. Just going to scrape it up just a little bit just to sort of move things around. And at this point, what you need to do is add 2 cups of water to the same bowl where you marinated the chicken in, and then you're going to toss that water in there. The reason being, we need to sort of braise or fully cook the chicken, and to help it to go along with the whole flavor of the lemongrass, you just toss that in there. You're going to tuck it down. You're going to bring this up to a boil. So turn your heat back up. You want to bring that to a boil. And the reason for smashing the lemongrass, as we did, as I indicated earlier there, it is to allow for the flavor for the liquid to get in there and all that flavor to come out. If you wanted to chop this up smaller, you can certainly do so. I just like it in big pieces because what's going to happen is later on I'm going to fish that out before I serve it. And voila, it's a lot easier to do. So some fresh thyme, yeah. I'm going to bring that up to a boil. We're going to reduce it to a simmer and let that go for about 15-20 minutes or so. At that point, we're going to taste it for salt. We're going to check the consistency of the gravy. And yeah, you know, we're going to finish things up. I've gone ahead and flipped them a couple times. The chicken is fully cooked. So what you need to do here is personalize things. I'm just going to fish out all of the lemongrass. You know, in the Caribbean we call this fever grass, and it is because as a kid growing up on the islands, whenever we had a fever, mommy would make tea with this lemongrass, aka fever grass, and that is what would break that fever. I'm going to remove the thyme as well. You know, those things, they've done their job. Here's where now you're gonna you're gonna taste it for salt, and you're gonna adjust that salt. Just gonna hit that one more little final stir. And to finish things up, remember we have that onion and the parsley, so I'm just gonna shake that in there. And I'm gonna give that a thorough mix. I'm gonna shut the stove off because the residual heat, that pan there, that cast iron, the residual heat is gonna thicken up that gravy further for me. Sup soldiers? Listen, if you enjoy this recipe, I'd really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and click that bell notification thing. If you've made the recipe, take a picture and send it to me, email address down here. I mean, trying to tell people the email address, them butts will take the address and do all kind of thing with it. And tag me on Instagram at Caribbean Pot. I really appreciate you guys and thanks for being in my kitchen with me today. Irie. Chris here, CaribbeanPot.com. Always a pleasure having you all in the kitchen with me. Lemongrass stewed chicken. You're gonna love this one. No, yo, if you love the flavor of ginger, you can add some ginger in here. But what I was gonna say is the lemongrass, once it's cooked, and if you've been to those Vietnamese restaurants and the Thai restaurants and stuff like that, you know exactly what I mean. That cooked lemongrass takes on a sort of a ginger sort of flavor without the heat of ginger. Ginger can be spicy, yeah? But anyways, I do hope you all get an opportunity to give this one a try. Yeah, it's real nice. Go on, organize some rice.